Yo, what's up, crew? Hey, welcome to this workshop. This is the contact research workshop. Okay, this is an important skill to have. I'm calling this a skill because at every stage of your career, you're going to be able to use this skill to find the right contacts, to be able to bridge the gap and to get into the conversation. This is very important to understand. And so I want you to take notes on this workshop and to really pay attention. All right, the target for this workshop, as I like to do for all of these, the target for this workshop is to be able to find the right contact. It's a simple target. That's where we're headed for this workshop. Is by the end of this, I want you to have the skill of knowing how to find the right contact in the right direction for the right opportunities for you. So that's where we're working on in this workshop today. Okay. All right, let's dive into it. This is not going to be a long workshop, but I want you to really get a lot out of it. So please be sure to take notes when you're going through this workshop. Okay, the first part of this contact research workshop is I want you to think about your own personal network. Okay, we're going to talk about kind of two areas of this, which is your personal network, being able to find the right contact within your personal network, but also finding the right contact online. Okay. Because research is actually not just online, research is also through our personal network. And I'll explain what I mean here in just 1 second. So when you're thinking about what you're wanting to do, when you're thinking about how to find the right contact for that, it's important to really take assessment of what that actually means to you. Okay. We're not just trying to get any old gig here. Okay. That's obviously something that I'm really bullish on. I want you guys to really get the right opportunities and the right gigs. And so what we want to do here is we want to think, all right, what am I trying to do here? What gigs am I trying to get here? All right. This may seem like a no-brainer, but this is a huge step because everything matters after this. Like I could show you exactly on how to contact research and stuff, but like at the end of the day, if you're doing this aimlessly, you're going to get aimless results. You're going to get whatever, and you're going to get pretty dang frustrated because you're not going to find, well, I would say find what you're looking for, but what are you looking for? You see what I'm saying? This is a very key, critical part of this because you might not actually have to dig too deep to find exactly what you're looking for as long as you know what you're looking for. Okay, it seems like I'm freaking pointing out the obvious here, but I have to say that most people have problems with finding the right contacts because they don't actually know what they're actually looking for. So for instance, let's just say that you are working as a stagehand or in local production even, and you know that you're wanting to do audio, okay? Now, audio on tour, obviously, because that's what we're doing here in Crew Coach. We're getting you on the road successfully. The problem with just having the target of audio on tour is that's still not clear enough to find the right contact. What I mean is we need to know moreover some specifics of that. So, okay, great. You want to do audio on tour. That's definitely a step towards clarity and finding the right contact. But like, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about country bands? Are we talking about Broadway type tours, shows like that? Are we talking about touring with the circus or Cirque du Soleil or monster trucks? Or are we talking about doing stadium tours, arena tours? Like, what are we talking about here? Because audio on tour is such a huge, broad topic, such a huge, broad, I wouldn't even call it a target because targets are a lot more specified. And if audio on tour is on a target, it's on the outer rings of the target for sure. So we want to try to hit the bullseye when it comes to finding the right contacts. And especially when we're talking about finding the right contacts within our personal network, because this is where it all begins. This is where your research begins. All right. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into the outreach and follow-up portion of what is required with this, but just how to get the contact and how to think about getting the contact, okay? If you do need help with outreach and follow-up, please take the outreach and follow-up workshop training that's in the education vault here in Crew Coach. So your personal network, okay? Your personal network, meaning the people that you've worked with in the industry. These aren't necessarily your relationships, but some of them are, okay? All of your relationships are obviously in your network, but there are people that you don't really have a deep relationship with that you can still reach out to for the right contacts, okay? As long as you do this correctly. But the idea is this. Let's just say that you're like, well, I want to tour in audio, but now Kenny said to get specific. So not only do I want to tour in audio, but man, it'd be so cool to go work with PRG. Okay, that's a touring production company, PRG. All right, that's specific. See, because you can also add a couple of to that list, so you can expand your options. So maybe PRG is your top option, then maybe your second option is Claire Brothers Audio, and then maybe your third option is Thunder Audio. Okay, I'm just throwing a few touring companies out there. All right. So then what you would want to do is you would want to first go to your personal network and think about, who do I know that I've worked with that already works with those companies? Okay, you'll hear me talk about this in the outreach and follow-up fundamentals training, but that a referral is instant gold. Okay, a referral is instant credibility and instant validity. And so it's better for you to always start with, well, who do I know that is already in the sphere of my direction, of my target? Okay. Obviously, the target is very clear now. We've got a few companies that were targeted towards and audio. All right. And so what you would do is you would reach out to those people and you would just say, hey, I'm working towards getting on tour, doing touring audio. And one of my top 3 companies is PRG. And I know that you've done some work with PRG. Is there someone I can talk to? I was going to reach out to their cold email address that's on their website, but I just wanted to see if there was someone that you might be able to refer that I reach out to, or even ask for when I do reach out to them. You're not asking, this is important to know, you're not asking that person for the hookup. You're not asking them for a gig. You're asking them for a name. Like, hey, is there somebody, because I'm doing this anyways, I'm going to reach out to PRG. Is there somebody that you know that I should ask for? Because the cool thing is you automatically get credibility when you say, hey, I just wanted to reach out to you, Sarah, because such and such suggested that I ask for you. And then the conversation begins, okay? Now, that is the best way to find the right contact. And we can all do that, especially when we are having some sort of experience, okay? When you have local crew experience, you are working with all of these different companies. It behooves you now, after watching this, to go to these stagehand gigs or these local production gigs and to start to talk to the people that work in these different companies that might be interesting to you to get to tour with one day. Okay. Because again, that referral, or even just being able to drop a name that someone suggested that you call them, boost you up in validity like that. Okay. It could be merch companies. It can be VIP companies. It can be other tour managers and production managers. It can be companies, like actual touring companies. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can start now at the local level, paying attention to the companies or other people and start to have the conversations of getting connected, the way that you ask is, who do you know over there that I could reach out to connect with that puts me in this direction? Does that make sense? Now, if you are coming with touring experience, you already have some touring experience, and you're just really trying to level up. You're trying to get on the right stuff now. You're tired of just taking whatever to fill in a schedule or whatever. Like, you're looking for that real team, that real relationship, that real long-term touring crew career success. The same goes with you. What are we talking about here? let's get specific. If you're not just taking any old gig anymore to fill your schedule, what do you want? What is your ideal target? What's in the center of the bullseye? What is that? Because then you can go to your personal network and you can say, who do I know that is close to that bullseye? Who do I know that might be affiliated with or actually in with that organization or that company or that management company or whatever it is? Because then you go to them and just say, hey, here's what you're doing. You're not asking for them to think of you. You're not asking for a gig. What you're doing is, hey, you're letting them know your desires and your dreams. Like, hey, I am working towards, now I've been touring as a VIP person. I'm working towards more tour management assistant and then tour management at a higher level as I go. I know that you work with a lot of red light management artists. Like, who can I talk to over there to learn more about opportunities that they might have for me this touring season, so I can, maybe pass along my resume, whatever. You're not asking them for a gig. You're not asking them to be thought of if a gig comes their way. That's not what you're doing. You're just asking for a name. Okay. It's very important. This is all part of contact research. Okay. It's not just done cold. The power is in your personal network. All right. The power is in the personal relationship that you have in your network. All right. That's even a better place to start, is the people that they actually know, like, and trust you. But even your general network people that you don't really know, but like that kind of know of you, would be more than happy to share a name. Oh yeah, sure. Call, email. If you email Greg over there at Red Light and talk to him, he's the guy, right? They're not saying, hey, you use me as a reference, but what you can do in that outreach is you can merely say, hey, Greg, Rachel suggested I reach out to you because you have a good understanding or a good grip on assistant TMs or project coordinators with some of your artists. And I've been touring as a merch and VIP and PC, and I'm working towards more tour management and assistant teaming and tour management on a higher level. And I just wanted to put myself out there, introduce myself, and just to kind of learn more about Red Light, because you're my number one group of artists that I would love to work with one day. That type of email outreach, it gives you credibility, instant validity. It lets them know that what your intentions are, that you're not just out there to gig get and paycheck grab and schedule fill, that you're out there to build a partnership for your career with the right management company. And that email will be received way more. Okay. So start your research within your network first. Make a list of all of the management companies, all of the different touring companies, all of the independent people that that work in all these different areas, and start cross-referencing and start reaching out. That's your first objective. Okay. Now let's dive into the practicalities of searching cold and searching the web for opportunities and contacts. Okay. Now let's start at the very early stages. I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to start at the stagehand stage. Okay. Now, the reason why I say we start at the stagehand stage is because usually if you have no experience whatsoever and you're just looking to try to get your first opportunity locally. Now, there's a variety of ways that you can get experience locally, whether it be your local coffee shop might have a little sound system, some production equipment. Your rec center might have some production equipment, some AV closet somewhere. Your church might have production, probably has production and needs help. But a great way to go and get some really fantastic experience is stagehand work. I mean, I don't care if you want to be a tour manager or a merch seller or a VIP person, like you have that in your mind that you don't really know, but you've heard those positions and you might want to. I still recommend going to get stagehand work. First of all, stagehand work gives you a wide range of production understanding. I mean, even as a TM or a merch seller or whatever, if you can have an understanding of what goes on generally at that level and general production stuff, you are going to be that much more valuable on the road even as a production coordinator, or even as a merch seller, or especially as a tour manager. And so I recommend also starting as a stagehand. And then secondly, the good thing about stagehand work is proximity. Man, it puts you in proximity to the people that could help you bridge the gaps so you can build the network and the relationships to move into those other areas like merch or backstage or whatever. Now, don't get me wrong, we're going to also cover how to find merch and runner opportunities and some of these local venue opportunities, but let's start with stagehand work, okay? Now, I'm going to use some general stuff. I have not prepared a whole bunch of prompts in here into Google because I wanted to do this live to show you that you're going to have to dig a little bit. I might run into some issues when I'm researching here, and I'm going to have to backtrack a little bit, look a little bit deeper, click a few more pages deep to find the right information. But I want to show you how you can do it in your area. Okay, so stagehand work. Well, first of all, what you need to do, what you need to do is you need to go ahead and put stagehand companies. Well, there's stagehand companies in, and then whatever your city is. Okay, stagehand companies in, let's just say in my case it's Tampa. Okay, again, I haven't researched this. I didn't even spell Tampa correctly, and you can clearly see that even though I didn't spell Tampa correctly, stuff popped up. Now, right out of the gate, you've got the job section. Live Nation is a fantastic employer for this stuff. You get on board with Live Nation, yeah, you might, well, anyways, you get on board with Live Nation, and that's an umbrella company of a bunch of different pathways and routes that you could get in and start networking and start building, and then one day produce the bridges that you need to continue to grow your career. I'm telling you, we've got some folks here in Crew Coach that work, their entry into is Live Nation, and they're doing huge strides. Okay, but there's stagehand work at the amphitheater. Stagehand work at the amphitheater. These are 3 days old, 2 days old, part-time, full-time, like absolutely the type of opportunities that you want. But let's keep moving. Rhino Staging, they're looking for stagehands in Tampa. Now this is ZipRecruiter, but we want to find a little bit more direct opportunities. Production Hub, they provide skilled labor and stuff for events, but even still, I want to look a little bit deeper at some of these smaller crews and smaller companies. Okay, I want both, but like all I'm doing as a stagehand is I'm wanting to get experience. All right, I want shows to work, I want gear to get my hands on, and I want to work with other people so I can close the skills and understanding gap. You're not planning on being a career stagehand, so you're not worried about benefits and the highest dollar amount. What you're wanting is the right shows worked, and you want to make sure that they have some direct contact. So let's look at this one, Shot Rock Productions. I've never heard of them. I live here in Tampa, and it looks like, okay, great. Yep, they're building a video wall. So that's some of the type of work that we want to do. Okay, here's a variety of the stuff that they rent out. Okay, it looks like they even have so when I see a company that is also offering technician positions, here's what that means to me in my head. I see growth opportunities. I see that I could enter in as a stagehand and then at some point grow into these other options and opportunities for them, right? And so now you want to look, I always like to scroll to the bottom and see if there's any sort of apply for a job. There you go. Welcome to the team here, people. Welcome to Team Shot Rock. All right, here's join the team. And then drug-free workplace. Put your work information. It doesn't matter if you have any sort of, when it comes to being a stagehand especially, you do not need any prior experience. Regardless of what people tell you, the union will try and tell you differently. It is not true. You do not need experience, okay? You just need to reach out, all right? They even talk, here's their telephone number. You've got any sort of questions, hey, 407-614-6160. boom, you see how quickly we found one opportunity? So what I would want you to do is I would want you to write this company down, or straight up, actually, let's go back to their website. Let's look at their FAQs. We've had issues with crews being late or being short. How do you prevent this? This is them. We've had issues with crews being unprofessional. Some of your so this is just some of their FAQs that it looks like it's more for their clients versus like their new hires. But understand that if their clients are asking about crews being late, crews being unprofessional, you know, price matching, last minute requests of putting crews together, this is an indicator that they need people on their roster. They need people on their roster that are quality. In other words, they need you here in Crew Coach. Okay, so again, there's their telephone number. Great. So I would write this company down. I would even go ahead and apply for them if that's where I was at with being a stagehand. Okay, skip all of these big companies, these big staffing sites like ZipRecruiter and Indeed and Talentfy and stuff like that. Go right to the see, this is event staffing services, but here's the problem with this event staffing service right here. This is not what we're talking about. Okay, these are a different type of event staff. All right, this is like, you know, street teams and trade show events and stuff like that. They might use the event staff, but that's not what we're talking about here. Okay, entertainmentcareers.net, you know, Jobble, Showbiz Jobs, Glassdoor, go past all of these. Okay, so here's the local IATSE. All right, I'm not a big union fan generally, and not because of politics or anything like that, but just because of entitlement, of a lack of limitation of growth. I get a lot of hate for it because, you know, union strong, union proud. But here's the reality. As a stagehand, we're not trying to be career stagehands. We're working on getting on tour. We want to move through the stagehand experience as quick as possible, a few months, so we can then take it to the next level and then to the next level and then on tour, right? And so a lot of times the unions limit growth by seniority. They'll say, oh, well, we have all these standards and we pay higher and all of this, but the problem is they slow boat your growth. It could literally take you years through apprenticeship and all of that through seniority just to get the opportunity to go from stagehand to any sort of type of specialty. I mean, years. And so I do not recommend stagehand work, or IATSE. However, not all IATSE is built the same. Some of these smaller towns or these higher number locals, like this is local 321, higher number meaning like low number locals, which is like New York is local 1, Chicago is local 2, Philadelphia is local 3, and so on. That's deep with seniority. I mean, their grandparents were stagehands, and so you just got to understand what you're dealing with here. Some of these higher number locals are okay to go in and get some experience because they don't have all of those generations of entitlement, which is really what it is. And so I just wanted to kind of point that out there. However, if you're interested in joining IATSE, then you certainly can come to this site and then contacts. All right, here's all these different contacts. The national site, no. The union, no. Their office is located here. If I was looking here and I just could not find the sign up page, because they usually have a special events and classes, upcoming classes, you know, safety first. Let's see, let's look at their link. So you just want to dig a little bit deeper here. I like that guided meditation. I appreciate them doing that. Okay. So fill out the safety first application. All right. So what I would do is if I'm looking through this site and I just can't seem to find it, okay. If I just cannot seem to find the actual application contact or application for this specific union, then a lot of them just say apply here. Then I would go here and I would either email the, you know, Vice President Tim. Well, he doesn't have his email. I'd even email the Vice President of IATSE 3 or the President of IATSE 321. I would absolutely do it. Or I would also call the office. I would probably call the office first and just say, hey, I'm interested in joining your stagehand union, local here in Tampa, St. Pete area, and then they'll tell you exactly what to do. So this works in every single area that you are in. Here's Rhino Stagehand Company. Crew One Production is another one that they have stuff here. Join our crew. Some of them are so very obvious. They tell you exactly what they're looking for. Here's the requirements. You must be 18 years old or over. That's it. And then, of course, a lot of them have companies. There's their festivals and other locations in other areas of the company. So that's Crew One. I'm a big fan of Crew One. They're all friends of mine. Rhino, again, Rhino Staging. I don't know why Rhino is not popping up. They're a huge company. But anyways, Rhino is another one. And so these are some obvious ones. But man, look, I just to prove it to you, stagehand companies in, whatever your major city is next to you. Okay, let's just say Kansas City. All right. I don't know where you're at, obviously, but like you can absolutely. So Gig Life LLC, looking for stagehand. Rhino has stagehands as well. Stagehands at the directly for the Kansas City Convention Center. There's another IATSE. There is the Starlight Theater is also, well, that's IATSE. Event Production Services at Hartman Studios. That might be another one. You see what I'm saying? Like there's so many. You want to bypass all of these job sites like Lenza and all these different ones like passbiosalary.com and all that stuff, and just keep digging and look a little bit further. And of course, hey, Facebook is absolutely a great way to cross references, but we're going to focus on just Google here today. So Rhino Staging, there we go. We see them again for Kansas City. And so that's what we already just saw a few. So here's an article. Okay. I just saw like a little headline, Stagehand Pros. There's a labor dispute with the locals. Go figure. IATSE crews. Go figure. They're always complaining. All right. And so anyways, and then you can kind of look in here and just see, okay, well, okay, this article doesn't really say too much, but it just basically pushes you towards IATSE and stuff. Okay, which a lot of them will. You'll get a lot of that stuff, but you don't have to settle. You can clearly see that there are a lot of other options, even in somewhere like a Kansas City. I like to sometimes look at random places like Boise, Ohio, Idaho. I mean, on-call stagehands at PH Production. Now you can, there's production jobs, Upstage Rentals. Here it is, Upstage. There's another crewing service for Nevada and some others. And then you're just like, oh, okay, yes, that's exactly what I want to do. You see what I'm saying? This is how simple it is. Here's Jordan and Pamela. Pamela's the labor coordinator. She's the perfect person to reach out to, and then here's their office number. But moreover, you can absolutely crew services. This is more for their clients, but then contact us. Need crew. Are you interested in our services? But you can either use the contact form below, or you can go to here and says join the crew. And then they have a picture of what they do. Yes, that's the type of work that we're looking to do. And then join their crew. Let's click it. No, whoa. They're trying to get you to call on Skype. Hey, okay, that's great. That is great. But it talks about all of their standards and all that stuff. So there you go. That's exactly how to find stagehand work. Now, let's go to local production companies, because as a stagehand, your whole mission should be, let's get this experience. Let's close the understanding gap. Let's understand load-ins, load-outs, chain of command, parts and names of gears generally. But when you start to kind of figure like, man, I want to do a specific role, a specific type of work, the stagehand work then needs to move into local or regional production work, so you can get real specialized. Okay. And the way to do that is to do the exact same thing. Like, so for instance, audio, lighting, video, backline, these different routes have local production, and your whole mission now is to go from stagehand to specialist, and you would do that through local production companies. So let's just say event production companies in, I don't know, let's look at somewhere a little bit smaller, because there's, you know, well, I'll go to Tampa again. Okay. I don't know. Of course I spelled Tampa wrong, or companies wrong, so there you go. So let's look at this. All right. The production crew, 5 years in business. So I don't know what this is. Live event company since 2005. Okay, we'll give them a go. We'll creating unforgettable audio visual events. All right. Now, at this point, our mission would be to specialize in what we're interested in, whether that be audio, lighting, video, staging, you know, pyro, whatever. Now, these events would be cool, like fashion show. It looks like they do a lot of corporate events. And although you could close the skills gap doing corporate, but maybe AV and corporate is not necessarily the real play here. Like maybe these type of events, although they are doing events, are not really the types of events that we're wanting to be involved in. Maybe we want to, like, you know, be more involved in concerts and stuff. So let's keep looking. Okay. Tampa Event Services. All right. Okay. Creating dazzling events. I see Dua Lipa. I think that's her name. So here's some of their events that they do. So let's just kind of take a peek at this. Eagle Production.
CEO of Eagle Production calls. I've been in the event industry for many years with a lot of experience in producing some of the biggest and best events in the industry.
Okay, there's their shop. That looks cool. I'm into that.
Here at Eagle Production Co., we offer our clients the best in audio, video, lighting, rigging, power.
Rigging, power. Oh. Okay, corporate. Corporate. Okay, I mean, not that corporate.
Dedicated to individual to make sure things run smoothly behind the scenes. We service large events at large venues. We travel nationwide to bring you the best and to bring you the latest. Make your event just so.
Everyone has a progressive, positive mindset.
Okay, I like that.
Unit, so we don't care about each piece of equipment here like it's our own, and when we're setting up jobs, we set it up efficiently.
Okay, so it looks like this company is also that's funny, more videos, how to get your toddler to listen. That's what I was Googling. It's funny because we're not necessarily looking to get into the corporate realm. Now they say that they do concerts, so that's a good thing, different retreats and stuff. But one good thing about the corporate realm at this stage of your career, I did it, is that you can really fine tune your understanding in a little bit slower pace of day to understand lighting, video, rigging, power, all the things that they offer. And so you could get with a company like this and spend 6 months and become a specialist, like big time. Like you could get with a company like this and really dive into the, say, the audio part or the lighting part or whatever, and big time be able to close the understanding gap and the skills gap, the competency gap, to then take that experience and move it into touring. Okay. And so there's their information right there. You could call and talk to them. There might even be a career section. So let's just see if they've got apply now, right? Who we're looking for. Look, they're looking for all of these people. Warehouse, general admin. So then what you do is when on the tell us about yourself, what you interested, see, even stagehands. Okay. And so you can click all of that stuff, tell them your information, tell them your experience. And this is where you don't go and seem desperate for a gig. What you do is say, hey, I've been a stagehand now for this company, and I'm really looking to specialize. I've really found my passion to be lighting, for instance. Obviously, I'm a team player and happy to step into wherever I would be needed, but I would love to really become a lighting designer and an operator and a programmer and stuff, right? You let them know that straight out of the gate. That gives them the ability to really consider you and to know that you're not just there for a cool job, that you're there for a career. It's good, powerful stuff. Okay, so that's one production company. Now, obviously, we would continue this search. Extravaganza, a premier production company, veteran owned. We would keep going. ESI. Let's look up ESI. They're friends of mine. I actually use them for my shows. Okay, so then we would go, great. Yeah, these are the exact type of shows that we're really interested in doing. Okay, festivals, venues, touring. Yeah, this is the type of company. By the way, there are these type of companies all across the country. I mean, this is Tampa. Tampa's not a huge market. It's a market for shows as big as any other smaller city. Most of these tours go to Orlando and Miami, but Tampa, we even have companies like this, right? And so what I would recommend that you do is you would, first of all, look up their contact. Go to their contact. It's right here. You could call them first, reach out on a phone call. That's what I like to do. If you take the outreach and follow up course, you'll hear me talk about that. But reach out on a phone call and say, hey, I'm interested in learning more about opportunities there. I've been working as a stagehand for X amount of time. I'm really wanting to move towards audio or lighting, whatever. And, wanted to see what opportunities that might be available for me to come and work with you guys. Okay. And then just say, I want to make sure that I'm partnering with the right company here as I move my career forward. All right. And you can say that on a phone call, or you can, again, reach out to them in this general contact form. But I recommend call first, and then you'll have a real email address to be able to communicate with them. All right. But that's all you have to do. Local or event production companies or you don't even have to say in your city. All right. And then you will find them. And by the way, if you run into a situation where you have researched your companies or stagehand companies, for instance, in your area, and it's like all you're finding is IATSE, you're a little bit leery of or wanting to really do that. You don't really see a bunch of other staging companies. Event production companies like this, even large ones, will also sometimes have internal stagehands. So you can even skip the independent stagehand company step, go right to be an entry level at some of these bigger production companies and work your way in that way. The biggest value of being a stagehand is getting to do a bit of everything and then truly finding what you're passionate about. All right. This is a step you do not want to skip. Okay, let's dive into venues. Let's go back to Google here. I want to dive into venues, okay? Because if you're wanting to get into tour management, now, again, I really recommend stagehand stuff generally at the start so you can have that understanding. But if you're wanting to one day get into tour management, if you're one day wanting to get into merch selling, VIP, those type positions, there's some other venue operation positions like runner, like local merch seller. I mean, even things like security and usher can get you in the building. And so it's important to understand that like proximity is power. You want to be able to get in and work with events so you can start making the relationships. But let's look up some of these opportunities. Well, first of all, one of the big ones is Live Nation. All right. We know who Live Nation is, but instead of just searching Live Nation, because you could certainly do that, you could go to Live Nation's website. I'm just going to show you here. You go to Live Nation's website and you could find their menu wherever their menu is. That's not it. And you could search down here for careers. And then, Michael Rapino. I didn't mean to press Michael's page. Careers, that's leadership. Of course, if you're working with a company, it couldn't hurt to know who's running the thing. And then open roles in wherever you want around the world. We'll look at North American roles. And then depending on what you're talking about here, you can do like merch. You can search merch, venue merch, Atlanta, venue merch seller, Tampa, merch seller, North Carolina, Phoenix. You see all these merchandise sellers all across the country. I mean, it would be the world. All of these, they need you. They need people. Okay. They desperately need people. And so it's important to just cold reach out to these companies. I mean, you look at this, 98 merch jobs all across the country at these different venues to get you in the door. Okay. Let's look up the word runner. All right. Runner. Boom. If you don't know what a runner is somebody that drives a vehicle, whether it be your own or rented from the promoter. And you basically run to the grocery store or run to and from the hotel or airports for these artists and these productions. So venue production runner all across the country. And these are no experience necessary type positions. You just need to know that they exist and you need to apply for them. Okay. So, and then boom, there's 74 runner jobs across the country. VIP. Now, VIP 210 VIP gigs. VIP reps, hosts, upsellers in these different areas of the country. Now, you can obviously, at this point, you can get a little bit more location specific and everything. If you wanted to get a little bit more deep into venue operations, things like that, full or part-time, whatever suits you. But understand that runner, VIP, and merch seller at VIP at certain levels is all entry level. Like they need you to be able to show up and help, and then you'll learn everything as you go. Again, Live Nation's a great umbrella company because you can see that there's a lot of opportunities within the company, and as soon as you get in with the company, Live Nation, you can then move around into the right directions, especially if you continue to do the relationship strategies that we talk about here in Crew Coach. So Live Nation is a wonderful place to search for these opportunities, but you can certainly go merch seller jobs in, or not even just jobs, like merch seller, and then let's look up maybe merch seller concerts, and then the city, let's just say Tampa. I don't know what's going to pop up. Okay, well, we obviously got merch seller at Live Nation. But let's see if there's any other. Here's Amelie, which is our arena that popped up. That's possible. Birch Gardens popped up. I don't know what Merch Bar is. That's a sponsored under oath. Amelie, the Innings Festival. So some of this is popping up because there's the keywords, right? Tampa Pride Festival. All right, so what we may want to do is remove the word concerts. Okay. And merch seller, some sports stuff. Okay, so let's go event merch seller. Okay. Tampa t-shirts, event merchandise, and product supplier. Let's click to see what this is. Tampa t-shirts and promotions. I'm not sure if this is the actual right company, but this is what you're going to go through. This is what you, how long to get your screen printing, where are you located, artwork format. Oh, I know this company. Let's see. Okay. So because, it says event merchandise and product supplier, but that's what they are. They obviously supply that, right? Supply merch. So let's keep going. We already found some, but swag.com. And actually event merch seller is different. Let's just say concert merch seller. Concert merch. Now there's, Live Nation is posting their jobs and stuff, and let's see here. I don't know what merch bar is, but now a lot of this stuff, the other way to do this, and I'll show you event merch. That's for Coldplay store. Okay, so a lot of ways to do this. Again, use your personal network, like I mentioned. Basically, like when you're working these gigs, like find out who's selling merch, like that's the best way to go. Like, especially if you start as a stagehand, like, hey, who's selling merch on this gig? Another way to do it is to look up the concerts that you're interested in. Like we have one here in Tampa called the Sunset Music Festival. I've never looked up their website, but let's just go there real quick because they have a contact, and you're staffing. Okay, boom. Oop. So you could go staffing, and then you could fill this out with a message that says, hey, I'm wanting to see who is selling your merchandise for this specific festival. I would love to get involved with them, and so on, right? You could straight reach out to the promoters, because these promoters of these festivals, they absolutely hire oftentimes the vendors. And so, but you could also say promoters, like Sunset Events. Okay, here's Sunset Events. That's who the promoter is for this. They have a contact here. Then you could also go to the About section. You could go to employment. They may even say, hey, here you go. Here's an employment opportunity. Don't allow for that. And then, you just tell them a bit about yourself, and they might get back with you. They probably will get back with you, whether they could use you or not. Because here's the thing, nobody hardly is filling this out. Like, let's be honest, almost no one is filling this out for employment opportunities coldly and randomly. What positions are you interested in? Okay. Well, I'm interested in, maybe VIP, production technician, right? Like, these are a couple of definitely go-go dancer. But you see what I'm saying? So there's ways to do this. So whatever festivals are in your town, or concerts in your town, look up who the promoter is, and then go to the promoter's website. The promoter, by the way, is like Live Nation, AEG. These are promoters. Sunset Events is a promoter. My company, Freedom Music Events, we are promoters. And so the promoters will oftentimes hire the merch seller. I all the time hire merch sellers, runners directly, and don't go through a company. And so just to let you know. So then you can also go to Concert Promoters Tampa. Tampa. And you can look up that way. Some venues, Straight Lace Marketing and Promotions, and they're straight laced right there, and you could dive into their website, or you could say concert producers, right? It's another term in Tampa. And then, well, ESI, like there's a lot of these venues. Okay. Now let's look up venues real quick. I just want to share, because like, let's just say you have a venue in your town, and you're just wondering who the heck offers those opportunities. So like, let's just say Mid Florida Amphitheater. Let's go to the credit union amphitheater site. Like I said, I've never been to their site. I don't know if there's actually, that's the amphitheater. Okay. I don't know if they actually have the career information on their site, but they might. Okay. Upcoming events, all the big shows, they certainly do. Now, if they didn't, now here's some careers right here, but that might be for Mid Florida, which is like a banking company. So that might not be what we want. We're going to click it in a second. But what I would do is I would call this, or, at Live Nation. So there we go. We see that it's Live Nation. They're going to send you to the Live Nation website. Live Nation is a huge employer in almost every town across the country. And so there we have our answer. However, this number as well could help you. Being that Live Nation has the account, I would just go to Live Nation. But in your city, if it's not Live Nation, you can call the amphitheater, or call the theater, or call the arena, and just say, hey, I'm trying to find out who is the merch vendor, who is the, who are the promoters that are putting on the shows here. I want to be a runner, who's the stagehand company. Like, you can just cold outreach to these venues as well. No one's doing this. And if you take the outreach and follow-up fundamentals training, you'll learn what exactly to say now that you have the contacts. Okay. Let's dive into, I showed you local promoters. Let's dive into touring companies. So let's just say you're with a local company. You've been working here, and you're just trying to cold outreach for companies, and you're trying to figure out how to get on tour straight up with touring companies. Well, let's start first with like touring live sound companies. Okay. That's just a lot of words, but let's just see if what pops up. LMG. Okay, they definitely are one of them. Now, you want to start with the companies that you already know, obviously, because that's the best way to do it. But we've already talked about that, kind of tapping into our personal network for that. Let's talk about some of the companies we don't know. Here's Elite Multimedia. And so then we would go, okay, well, they said that they do concert tours. So let's see. Okay, great. Elite. They have the gear. So they do video, scenic, lighting, LED, and rigging. Okay, so if I'm audio, this is not what I want. But if I'm lighting or video or rigging, this is definitely what I'm interested in doing. Okay, so they do all this. Great, great, great. Here's some of the shows that they've done. Perfect. These are the types of artists that I want to work with. Great. Now what I want to do is go to their career section. Okay, work with us. Perks and benefits. That's great. Cast and crew. They're just, I know some of these people. Jason. Awesome. So you can certainly submit at that point directly. Again, there's going to be very few people that are submitting directly on these type of sites. Trust. Okay. And so as long as you fill this out, and you can certainly, it says choose a file, you can certainly put your resume on there should you want to. That's fine. It says that they're based in Nashville, Tennessee. Great. And they provide a variety of stuff. So you can go to their touring services. Here's their contact, which is basically the same thing, but that's less specific. This is more for their clients. So I would really follow the link of careers instead. Follow the careers link and then fill this out. Because again, probably hardly anyone is filling this out. All right. If that was the company that you were interested in touring with. Okay. Somebody else, let's just say, let's go back to touring live sound companies. I mean, you can put touring audio companies. I'll put live sound because that is a better vernacular sometimes. That will be in the keywords. Here's PRG, music touring company, huge company. They do so much stuff all around the world for that matter. And so you can go to their menus. Yeah, there's contacts. Before we go to the contacts, let's just see if there's a careers. I like to look at the bottom, and let's just see, because they may be sectioning off their careers relative to their regions. So like let's just go to the United States, and then let's scroll to the bottom. Okay, it's still that. So then what we do is we go to contact. There we go. Cool. And then crew services. Yeah, I would go to crew services because the same person that's booking the clients can pass you along over to the career, but the careers, here's a beautiful thing right here. Boom. See all these company numbers? You just reach out to them. Just say, hey, I couldn't find a link on the site. I just wanted to reach out to learn about opportunities at PRG. Right now, chances are, if you're already in the business, you've already specialized in what you're doing, then you already probably know some people at these companies. So I want you to be reminded of leaning into your personal contacts. Okay. Very important to lean into your personal contacts. But PRG, another fantastic company that does a variety of different stuff. Clearwing. That's another one. And sometimes you might have to click into these. Like you might have to click into some of these and be like, what's RRS audio? Concert touring, okay. Audio, I've never really heard of them, but they look like they're doing some big stuff. Shoot, they got some big accounts. All right. Okay, great. Crew and technician services. They even have a little backline. Get it, RRS? Call us today. And I would absolutely literally call them and just say, hey, I'm very interested in potentially working with you guys. On stage systems and so on. And so you can clearly see though, Solo Tech, you can clearly see all we typed in was touring live sound companies. All right. Now it's going to be up to you to really have clarity about what some of these for you could look like in you getting hired, whether you want to work with some of these companies or not. There's a lot of them. There's a lot more than just the few big known companies that tour. All right. It's important to really understand this. Because there's so much opportunity out there, as you can clearly see, which is pretty cool. Okay, let's go to touring lighting companies. Touring lighting companies. Okay, obviously there's some sponsor one, but here's upstaging, stage lighting. Now there's PRG again, but Upstaging, another huge company. Upstaging has been around for 50 years. All right. Then we want to hover over there. Make sure first that, careers, production and technical careers. They also hire truck drivers. So they're currently looking for full-time team members to work in lighting and video on their lighting and video crew. So obviously this is specifically lighting and video. This is some of their essentials: basic knowledge of electricity, enjoy traveling, willing to work long and irregular hours, non-union, I'm kidding. Practical and mathematical skills is an asset. Physical fitness and agility are an asset. Good communication, interpersonal, and an eye for details a must. A career-oriented person who maintains a positive attitude. You see this? This is the stuff that I teach you guys here in Crew Coach. Like, if you want to really figure out how to get on with upstaging, reverse engineer this before you apply and say, well, how can I get to be this person? You know, which you're well on your way if you're not already. But by the time you're looking for touring opportunities, you will be all of that stuff and more. We are willing to train you to become a professional lighting and video tech. You see what I'm saying? And so going from stagehand work or local regional lighting can absolutely push you into getting to work with a company like this, because you're already coming with so much foundation that they're willing to help you close the gaps to learn the rest, right? Full-time benefits, the whole situation. Technicians apply here. Okay. Don't assume that you're not right for it. Let them communicate with you. Okay. Let them tell you where you lack. And then you straight up ask them, just say, hey, listen, I want to work with you upstaging. Like, what do I need to close the gap to be considered here? You know, here's what I'm coming to the table with. Chances are you're going to be way well equipped for them to be able to train you. As long as you have all of this, they're willing to close the gap to help you have all of this. Do you see what I'm saying? You see how straightforward this is? We haven't looked up a lot of different keywords. And so ultimate lighting, there's a whole bunch of Volt is another big touring lighting company. Christie Lights is another big touring lighting company. There's a bunch of them. Bandit Lights, and so I want you to just touring lighting companies. All right, let's look up touring video companies. Okay. Touring video company. I like to skip past the first few. Touring video. I mean, that seems pretty straightforward. Touring video. It looks like they do remote trucks and stuff. Okay. It looks like they do a little bit more TV type touring, but if this is the type of touring that you're interested in, doing these type of TV show touring, then, and the video truck and all of that, then that's the perfect opportunity to reach out for them. Or if you're interested in more of the concert type touring, LMG does concert type touring, right? See, and then you would go to the careers, and then from careers you would be like, are you interested in joining the crew? And then you would say join the crew, and it would take you to their process of applying. And some of it is making you apply specifically to these roles, or what I like to do is straight up freelance with us. Here's a apply today. Let's see what this one is. Brain Hub. So they've got all of this process in place for you to apply, but hey, go through the process and apply here to freelance with them. Or if you wanted to get full-time with them, go through and look at those positions. But if you just don't find the exact thing that you're looking for, you're running into issues, they want you to work with them. They need you actually to be the right person. Do not hesitate to call. Okay. Do not hesitate to call. Just say, hey, listen, I looked on your website. I know that there's some processes that you guys have for applications, but I just wanted to reach out directly to make sure that I'm reaching out to the right place and applying for the right thing, to see what opportunities are for me. You see what I'm saying? So do not hesitate to call. It is just part of their process to help them streamline it, and they put their telephone number there for a reason, not for you to not call, right? Okay, so let's say touring merchandise companies. Okay, Crown Merchandise. Let's look at them. Boom. All right. Clients, contact, see merchandise differently, what they do on tour, full scale touring. All right. So then what you do is you go to their contact. And then their office is here. They tell you exactly where their office is if you wanted to stop by. Otherwise, you would send this contact form in and just say, hey, I'm just interested in making a move towards touring merchandising. I've been a local merch seller and I just want to move towards touring merchandise. And I know that there's a variety of options out there, but I really am interested in working with you guys. Is there anyone I can talk to about opportunities? You see how empowering that is? That's how you fill that form out. Okay. Bravado, another big one. All right. I've toured with these people actually. Same thing. You scroll down here, you look at careers, and then you continue to dive deeper. Bravado is the actual, they're making you really dig deep in here, aren't they? But that's okay. Just follow the rabbit hole, man. UMG is huge. And then so what I would do is merch, and then merch manager, merch site and merchandising experience. So here's a couple of right here. Okay. So there's a couple right there, but I want to look at something else. Bravado. So Bravado is and then let's go to the website for Bravado directly. Here we are. Boom. Contact. So we skip the UMG site and we go right to contacting Bravado. Okay. Boom. Here it is. I would just, that's why I know Ariana. And I would literally fill this out with the same type of thing. Hey, I couldn't find the exact info on who I reach out to about potentially getting on with your touring merch team. Who might I be able to talk to, right? Bravado. Okay. Let's keep it moving here. And so you can see Manhead Merchandising Worldwide, Kings Road Merchandising. These are all touring merch companies. BSI, Company X. There's other ones too. There's Mad Merch, right? Mad Merch. This might not be the right Mad Merch company. Merch that doesn't suck. Oh, here it is. Mad Merch Festival Merchandising, which I know some of our Crew Coach members work with. And Festival Merchandising, by the way, would be a good entry level opportunity for merch because they do traveling festival merch sellers and they need brand new people all the time. The reason why I know this is because 2 of our Crew Coach members right now, as we speak, just did their first ever gigs in the industry was Coachella with this company right here. And so you reach out to them, you apply, and you move forward. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to fill these out and be thorough in your questions. Okay. They need good people and you're good people. They need you. All right. Let's see. So then let's look up, let's just say that you've got merch experience, you got VIP experience. Let's just say that like you really want to move into like PC, assistant tour management and tour manager one day. Well, the thing is you're going to want to use your personal network for this. I mean, if you've already gotten that far in your career, you really need to develop relationships in your personal network, the ones that already exist, okay? Because there's so much value there. There's so much value there, all right? However, you can certainly cold outreach at this point, all right? It just needs to be how you do it, all right? So let me show you. This is what we need to look at, all right? We're not just trying to get any gigs. We want to make sure that we can get the right opportunities, and we're looking towards becoming a assistant TM or a PC or a tour manager at these management companies that provide artists, because that's who really hires. It's other tour managers that you got to build relationships with, or management companies, all right, will also hire. And production managers will also bring in production assistants, PCs, and sometimes throw you towards the tour managers. But that's relationship based. That's you working the network and working your relationships within your network to develop that web of relationships. If you need help with that, take the relationship mastery masterclass that we have here in the Education Vault. Otherwise, let's talk about how to just cold contact research this? So, well, if you're already this far experienced, you probably know that there are these different management companies. Maybe you know some of the management companies, like for instance, Red Light Management. Okay. Oh, I don't know why I went to Red Light Management merch, but so Red Light Management is one of the big management companies that does all the tours. That's got a bunch of artists like Luke Bryan, Black Crows, Dave Matthews, a whole bunch of other people. I worked as a tour manager with Red Light as tour manager for Amos Lee. And so what you would do is you could go to their jobs and internship page, absolutely. And then boom, there's their careers page. Okay. You can click in there if no jobs are actually listed, day-to-day manager, internships. Okay. What you can do is you got to understand that these companies, especially in the tour, they're typically not going to list all of the assistant TM and TM roles on here for sure. That's not where they're going to list this stuff, because most of that stuff's done through referrals on the back end, but they need to know about you. And so what you would do is you would click this link to have an email pop up so you can actually email this company, and you would email them and you would simply just say, hey, I know that all the time hey, I'm such and such based in Nashville, Tennessee. I just wanted to reach out to you directly as I'm working towards my next tour phase. I want to move from doing PC, backstage coordinator, and assistant TM stuff to more TMing stuff. I understand that you guys need TMs all the time, and I just wanted to find out who I might be able to talk to or connect with to potentially pass my resume along to find out if there's any opportunities for me as we move forward in this touring season. I know that I want to make sure that I'm partnering with the right management company to continue to grow my tour management career. You see what I'm saying? It's a whole different aspect other than like, hey, here's my resume. If there's any opportunities, I would love to be considered, right? You're not doing that. You're starting a conversation. Okay. Again, if you need more tips on how to do that, take the outreach and follow-up fundamentals workshop here in the Education Vault. But this is how you find their contact. Now, let's just say that like, you didn't know about Red Light, all right, specifically, but you know about artists. Okay. Let's see if we can't track down the managers or the management companies that are with these different artists. So we're just going to say an artist name. I don't know. I'm terrible with artist names. And so let's just go in here and type in an artist that maybe somebody likes. I don't know. Let's just say, I'm going to say metal bands, because that's a world I do not know at all. I don't know metal. I did tech for Korn last year. I toured with Korn last year, but otherwise I don't know metal bands. And so I'm just going to list out metal bands. Hopefully some of these metal bands are still working. I guess some of these might be. Okay. Maybe some of them. I don't know. Avenged Sevenfold. Okay. I don't know these guys, but let's just say Avenged Sevenfold. And then we're going to go to their website. And then from their website, I just want to go and look a little bit lower. And so, okay, here we go. We got tour, news, all that stuff. I like to look at the bottoms of websites, because the bottom of the website potentially could have, so Bubble Up is the marketing company, Avenged Sevenfold, Contact Us. Now, I just want to see what this Contact Us thing says. All right. Now, I'm big on it. So you guys don't have to do this necessarily unless it's just a last resort. But I'm big on cold outreach and just inquiring. You never know who's on the other end of this and how happy they would be to connect you with the right person. So don't be afraid to use the random contacts. But let's dig a little bit better than just the random contact. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to say Avenged Sevenfold management. All right. A7X switched man. Oh, that's I don't know what that is. Avenged Sevenfold contact information. That's booking. CAA is their booker. Velvet Hammer Music and Management Group. Okay, there we go. Velvet Hammer. We found them. Boom. Our artist, the company, and contact. Boom. So here's all of these different metal bands. Hey, I'm proud of myself. that operate these. Here's their different names of their people. Heck yes, we're getting some good info here. General contact, which is probably the same general contact as here. General contact, boom. Okay. And so here you go. You would be bold. Fortune favors the bold. You would fill this out and you would reach out to them and say the same thing. Like, hey, I'm a touring, I'm touring assistant TM and production coordinator and VIP. I'm working towards moving into full-time tour management this year. And just wanted to reach out to find out who I might be able to talk to maybe connect and send my resume to. I really want to make sure that I'm partnering with the right management company that I really want to work with as I move into tour management, because I'm all in. And so I really love Velvet Hammer and what you guys are doing. And so who can I talk to, right? They're going to send you to one of these people. And then boom, you'll have that ability to reach out to them. And that's one way to find it, type in the artist and so on. Now, you could certainly click, no, that's not it. But you could certainly go to Facebook and stuff. And you notice that I'm not even using Facebook and stuff yet. Although you certainly could use Facebook and such. Let's just say one more management company for the heck of it. Let's just say that we are looking to work with, I don't know, a country band. Let's just say who's a newer country band. I don't know, Cole Swindell. The reason why I say Cole Swindell is I actually know that guy. This guy right here used to be Luke Bryan's merch guy when I was on tour with Luke Bryan. Anyways, so Cole Swindell, and then we would say management, and then we would see Carrie Edwards. I know Carrie. She's a sweetheart. They founded their own firm, KP Entertainment. So then we would continue on here. There's KP Entertainment right there. Boom. So then we would go to contact. And then same thing. You would reach out to KP. Good for her, man. Carrie Edwards. All right. There she is. I know Carrie. Wow. They did it, man. I'm so proud of them. There she is. That's Carrie. All right. That's awesome. Yeah. And so that's how you would do that. You would reach out to these people. Like, these people are so bold themselves. They've created careers that are incredible. And that is how you do it. So hopefully that gives you a really good understanding of how to research your own content or contacts within your network as well as online. There's a lot more keywords that you can do. Every keyword combination that you can think of, do some digging, make a list. Okay, make an actual list and then just start putting yourself out there. You're not trying to get people to say, hey, are you hiring? What you're doing is trying to be considered. That's what you're actually doing. You're working to start a conversation to be considered, because over the next conversation or two of phone calls or emails back and forth, then that's when you get them to learn a little bit more about you and your intentions, and then really be considered. Because at first outreach, there's a really good chance that they're not hiring at the moment. They might in a little while. And if they just put you on the backlog of considerations, then you're pretty far down the list of considerations. But if you keep the conversation going a little bit to let them know your real intentions, sometimes these opportunities, they may find a place to put you. Okay. And so, but the kind of overall final conclusion to this training today, which I hope that you guys have really appreciated this, I know that's been really quite revealing, is that your results of what you're searching for is only as good as your prompts, is only as good as your input. At every stage, you got to know what you're asking for. You got to know what you're going out for. You got to know that it's stagehand work, it's local production work in this capacity, right? You got to know the direction that you're heading. That's why I talked about in the very beginning, like getting clear about what you want out of it, what your target is, because if you don't know what that bullseye is and you're shooting wide, you're going to get wide results, not specific results, and it's going to be very, very frustrating. And so the way that the big key here is to get specific results by having specific prompts, so you can specifically get the right contact information. And another thing is be bold. Like, don't be so worried about the expectations on the other end. You're coming across the right way by asking them to consider you, or to, no, I'm sorry, not to consider you, but you're asking them and who you can talk to learn more about the partnership that you're after, because that's what we are after. We're not after for a gig. We're not after to get hired. We're looking for a partnership to grow our careers. If it's not this company, it's going to be somebody else, but you'd rather it be your number one. And so that's how you put your outreach across. You can learn more about outreach and follow-up in the follow-up and outreach fundamentals training in your education vault, as well as the relationship mastery masterclass will help you reinforce your understanding of how to build that network web, a relationship web within your network, so you can never have to find and look for gigs ever again. But in the meantime, you now have a tool, an asset, an understanding, a resource to help you find the right contacts for the right gigs for you. And that's all I got for today's training. Until next time, y'all, go get them.